What was the Investiture Controversy related to the Gregorian Reform? Have you ever wondered how the power struggle between the church and state shaped medieval Europe? One of the most notable conflicts was the Investiture Controversy, which was closely tied to the Gregorian Reform. This controversy was a clash between the Catholic Church, led by the papacy, and secular rulers, particularly the Holy Roman Emperor. The central issue was who had the authority to appoint church officials like bishops and abbots, the Pope or the King. To grasp the significance of this conflict, we need to understand what investiture means. Investiture is the formal ceremony where a bishop or abbot receives symbols of their office, such as a ring and staff. These symbols signify their spiritual authority. Before the Gregorian Reform, kings and emperors often appointed church leaders for political reasons or in exchange for money or favors, a practice known as simony. The Gregorian Reform, named after Pope Gregory the Seventh, aimed to purify the church by ending simony. It sought to ensure that church officials were chosen based on their spiritual qualities rather than political connections. Gregory the Seventh and his supporters believed that only the church should have the right to appoint bishops and abbots. This idea directly challenged the power of rulers like Henry IV, the Holy Roman Emperor, who had traditionally controlled these appointments. The conflict reached a boiling point in the year 1076 when Gregory excommunicated Henry and declared him deposed as king. This bold move demonstrated how far the Pope was willing to go to assert church authority. The struggle continued for decades, with both sides employing excommunication, military force, and political alliances to gain the upper hand. The investiture controversy was not just about who appointed bishops. It raised broader questions about authority in medieval society. Should the church operate independently from kings and emperors? Could a pope remove a king from power? These questions affected everyone in Europe, from peasants to nobles, as the church and the state were deeply intertwined in daily life. The controversy finally concluded in the year 1122 with the Concordat of Worms, an agreement between Pope Calixtus II and Emperor Henry V. Under this agreement, the emperor relinquished the right to appoint bishops with the symbols of spiritual authority but retained the right to be present at elections and to grant lands and secular powers to bishops. In practice, this meant that the church gained more control over spiritual appointments, while rulers still had influence over church lands and wealth. From the perspective of European history, the investiture controversy exemplifies how the Gregorian Reform reshaped the relationship between church and state. It marked a turning point in the balance of power, with the papacy emerging as a stronger, more independent force in European politics. The reforms also set the stage for later conflicts between church and state, influencing the development of both religious and secular institutions in medieval Europe. In practical terms, the investiture controversy and the Gregorian Reform changed how people thought about authority and governance. They helped establish the idea that spiritual and secular powers should be separate, a concept that would shape European history for centuries to come. This struggle illustrated how religious movements could challenge political power, a theme that would reappear in many later cultural and political movements.